This family did the strangest thing during dinner. You see, if somebody took a bite out of food and the bite was too hot, the whole family would immediately lean over and every single person would blow directly into that person's mouth. Like this. Oh, hot, hot, hot. Oh. I got you, sweetie. Not one person at a time, everybody at the same time. Apparently, the person that shared this story said that he went over one night and he took a bite of hot food. Oh, that's hot. Open up! What? She said open up! And then everyone proceeded to blow into his mouth until the bite he took was cool enough to eat. The second that incredibly uncomfortable situation ended, he didn't even bother to finish his food or to say anything to that strange family. He got up and walked directly out the front door, and he never had dinner over there ever again. At one high school, there was a kid who loved his cat more than anything. He'd had the cat since he was a little tyke. They grew up together. The cat slept at the end of the bed every single night. Well, eventually the cat got old and passed away. No. No. And the family buried it. Or at least that's what people thought. A few weeks later, this kid starts talking to his parents about taxidermy, which is when you stuff an animal to display on a wall or a mantle. You know, you've seen fish or deer. Well, his parents think he's joking at first, but after more conversations, they realize that he's dead serious. He was so attached to the cat, he couldn't part with it, so they actually had it preserved. Now, here's where the story gets a little strange. There was one teacher at his school that he really looked up to. This teacher always encouraged him, always asked him how his cat was doing. So one morning he decides he's gonna bring his stuffed cat to school to show his teacher. He walks into school carrying a big box. The teacher smiles. Morning, miss. Hey, sweetie, how are you? I want to show you something. Oh, okay. What's in there? He sets the big box on her desk, opens the top, and pulls out the stuffed cat, hands it to her. Here. Oh my God. What is it? It's Mr. Whiskers. I had him stuffed. Oh, that's lovely. Now, at this point, there were other students in the classroom as well, and they were horrified. Nobody knows what to say, and this kid's just standing there smiling like he did something good. And every day for the rest of that year, he carried around his stuffed cat, and people just let him. That's grief for you. You never know how someone's gonna handle it. This kid caused panic throughout his entire school. There was a school assembly going on. The entire student body was sitting in the gym listening to the principal talk. It was quiet except for the principal's boring speech. And this one kid is sitting with his friends and he gets a little bored. So he leans over and he frantically whispers to everybody around him. Hey, you guys hear that? Did you hear that? He's messing around, but people didn't know that. Wait, hear what? Yeah, I think I hear it too! And this begins to spread throughout the bleachers. Within 30 seconds, half the school's confused. The principal's like, wait, what's going on? Now it's the entire school. A teacher yells, I hear it too! There's an animal in the school! Run! Now, why she would say that, I have no idea, but this was a small school in a small town in Texas. So, yeah, crazy. Just like that, everyone screams, jumps up off the bleachers, storms the court, and leaves the school. But, like I said, this kid was just goofing around, there was nothing to hear, and there were no issues. He was nervous about the panic he caused, so when his friends were like, yo, what did you hear? He said, I don't know, but I heard something. No, he didn't. That's insane. This kid convinced an entire middle school that these mechanical pencils were collectibles. It started because his dad worked at an office supply company. So one day, this kid shows up to school with a box of mechanical pencils, and each mechanical pencil in this box was the exact same. He labeled each of these mechanical pencils in fine point Sharpie, like this. 1 of 25, then the next one, 2 of 25, then the third one, 3 of 25, and so on. Each mechanical pencil looked the same, they just had a different number out of 25. He called this first batch Series 1, and one day he managed to sell all 25 of these pencils before lunch. Hey, my buddy said he got a pencil from you. You got any more? No, that's it. There's only 25. Wait till Series 2. So there, he's creating like demand, limited supply. The next week, he starts Series 2, a box of 25 pencils, but this time a different pencil. Again, he sells out. 1 week, he released only 10, and students went crazy for him because there was less? pencils. And nobody used these pencils because they didn't want to ruin their value. People were trying to trade things and spend money to complete an entire set. But the most popular kid in the school had emerged. It was the kid who bought 1 of 25 of Series 1, and he said he was never selling. That's crazy. Hey, don't be that guy. So this dude worked at an office with a shared kitchen. One afternoon, he's standing over the sink, washing his own coffee mug, and then he was gonna head back to his desk to work. Then this one guy from another floor walks in, and he's carrying his own mug. Well, he looks around, sees this guy at the sink. Oh, hey, where should I leave this for you to wash? The dude doesn't say anything because obviously this guy's gotta be joking. Why would he wash his mug for him? So he stays silent. But I guess the other guy takes silence as confusion. He assumes that this guy doesn't know English. Now he explains it like he's talking to a toddler. I leave mug here, you wash mug. And then that dude walks away. What? The original dude is speechless. He was literally just washing his own mug and then gonna go back to work. How is somebody that entitled that he's just gonna assume somebody else is gonna do his own dishes? So this is what that guy did. He looks over to the mug on the counter, and just like a sneaky cat, he takes his his hand, and he just pushes it off, and it shatters to the floor. He then goes back to work. But he was proud of what he did that day. I would be too. Wash your own dang mug, sir. At one school, there was a poop bandit, and nobody knew who it was because nobody ever saw him. All they knew was that every couple of weeks, he would strike again. For example, one morning, a teacher opened up her desk drawer. Oh, there's poop in here! Now, the poop bandit would strike in many different places. Desks, lockers, on the floor of the hallway. And every time he did this, there was always a little note. And the note would say, if my demands are not met, the poop bandit will strike again. And whenever this would happen, people would be freaking out. But here's the problem. There were never any demands, just a note. And because there were no demands, there was no way to meet the demands, so every few weeks, he would strike again. But he would still leave the note. It was the absolute biggest mystery in school, and it stopped for a few years. And then it happened again. People think it's a copycat bandit because the first bandit obviously had to have graduated. But still, what a legend? Every summer, this kid hosted the coolest bike ride in town. He would always spend the first part of summer memorizing whose houses were using their sprinklers and which sprinklers would spray onto the sidewalk. So every morning, he would ride around and he would see whose sprinklers were on, and then around 2 in the afternoon, he would send a big old group text. Ride leaves in 10. Pretty soon, there'd be like 20 kids in front of his house with their bikes. This kid would strap a little Bluetooth speaker to his, you would hit play, and he would lead this group. So it's him and like 20 kids on bikes behind him. This whole ride was planned. He would take them right in front of the sprinkler houses so everyone would get cooled off. Then they would take a turn and dry off, then down a different street with more sprinklers. Kids were screaming, people were having a blast. It was a giant parade of bikes. Then after about a half an hour of riding through walls of sprinkled water, he would drive back to his house where his dad was set up with the grill making hot dogs. Everyone would leave their bikes on the lawn and they would sit, eat hot dogs, drink pop, and have a great time. He never charged a single penny for this water park neighborhood bike ride, but people loved it and it became a tradition. After a couple years, every house on the block put their sprinklers by the sidewalks to make it more fun for these kids. And that, my friends, is absolutely beautiful. This kid got half the school to pay for something that didn't exist. On Monday morning, he walked into school holding a clipboard. At the top of it, the clipboard said waiting list, and that's it. And then there were slots for names. Well, he starts talking about it and showing people, and they ask him, hey, waiting list for what? He says, I actually can't tell you, but it's awesome. You want on the list? Sure. It's just $2 to secure your spot. Okay, sure. Here, kid pays. Gets his name added to the list. And how it usually works is people start noticing, and that's exactly what they did. And then they were curious as well. Now, not everybody was dumb enough to sign up and pay for a waiting list spot for something that they had no idea about, but a lot of kids did. By the next day, word had spread a bunch, and more kids wanted on the waiting list. But that's when he upped his game. The waiting list is actually full, you guys. is, but we did add 10 more spots. It's just $5 this time to hold it. And everyone did. People signed up for this thing. Teachers start asking and the parents started hearing about this. A teacher asked them, hey, so what exactly is the waiting list for? Don't worry about it. It's exclusive. After about 3 weeks of doing this and making a lot of money, somebody cornered him. It was the school janitor. Hey kid, what's going on here? I demand an answer onto what this is. He just smiles and says, there isn't one. This is a waiting list to nothing. Oh, I also spent all the money. So, what are you gonna do about it? The janitor gets the principal suspends him. But he never had to pay the money back, so I guess that's a win. But he is a scammer, so it's bad to scam people, right? This kid basically spent half the year asleep in science class. He sat in the back row, his head was down every single day. People knew this kid though. They knew he was smart, but he never took notes, never answered any questions, never asked any questions either. He just slept. One day the teacher gets fed up. Hey, you know what? I'm done with this. Why do you sleep through everything? Now class is officially paused. Well, I already did the work, miss. The whole class starts laughing. Oh, really? Yeah. Now she's annoyed, but she makes him a deal. Okay, fine. Come sit up right here in front of class. I'm gonna ask you some questions. If you get them all right, you never have to do a single thing in this class for the rest of the year. You got a deal, miss? Now, this is interesting. Everybody's involved. They're like,
wait, what's gonna happen here?
The teacher starts firing questions at him. 5 questions from chapter 1. He gets them all right. Questions from chapter 2. Still all correct. Random vocab terms. He's killing it. Now she's digging through the textbook to find something that he won't get right. But this kid's kind of like a genius. The room's like, oh, this guy's schooling the teacher right now. What an absolute freaking legend. Finally, the teacher goes silent. Well done. You're free. You can just sleep for the rest of the year. I don't care. She was impressed. The entire class gives him a round of applause. This kid doesn't care. He goes back to his desk, puts his head down, and goes right back to sleep. You gotta respect the sleeping genius.